All right, everyone. So this week we are talking about claims and are writing a claims. So just like the other 2 weeks, if you want to take notes to help you out, and I will circle some parts of it where you can take your notes. But basically today we're just talking about a claim, which is something that we've talked about in my class before. So remember, a claim is just a statement basically saying what your stance is about a topic, and it needs to be clear and specific, or we're going to talk about that a little bit more right now. If this wants to go. There we go. Okay, so just a really quick review. The last 2 weeks, what we've talked about is central idea, which is basically just the big idea or the larger message within a text. So if you look at this picture here, here's like a little image. It's kind of like shooting a bow and arrow, right? I know these are kind of hard to read, but basically here it's saying what's the main idea of the first paragraph. Here it's saying what's the main idea of the second paragraph, what's the main idea of the third paragraph. So the central idea is basically what is the commonality or the common aspect of all of those paragraphs. So that's really all a central idea is. And then supporting evidence is what we talked about last week. And all it does is it proves a claim, which is what we are writing today, to be true. It can be a summary, paraphrased, or direct quote. So now we are getting into what is a claim. So, what is a claim? Great question. You can write this part down if you would like to. Right here, this is like the definition. This one sentence here. So, your stance about a certain topic. It is written in either 1 to 2 sentences, and it must be able to be backed up by supporting evidence. So what I mean by that is you must be able to prove your claim, essentially. When you are writing your claim, however, you are not backing it up with the actual supporting evidence, but you need to make sure that you can actually back that up. And I'm going to explain that a little bit more. But with that being said, you can also write these 3 bullet points down along with what a good claim includes, because this is something that you are going to need for later on in the lesson when you're filling out the form. So a good claim includes 1. Clearly states your stance about a topic. 2. Is specific and easy to understand. And 3. Introduces the reasons for your stance. Okay? So here's an example of a good claim. So we have people need to social distance. That would be clearly stating your stance about a topic. So for like right now during this quarantine, during this pandemic, people need to social distance. That's the overall claim. Due to, this is just like a little transition phrase, okay? That's all. That's why that's boxed there. And then your reasons. Raising numbers in admitted patients and the lack of resources hospitals have. Okay, so these are your introducing the reasons for the stance. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit more, but as of right now, it has all 3 of these components, right? It clearly states the your stance about the topic. It is specific and easy to understand, so it's being very specific on what we're actually talking about. And it introduces reasons, and right now I have 2 reasons. Okay, so when and or why do we write a claim? Wonderful question. So when? We write claims for either explanatory or argumentative papers and or paragraphs, okay? And why? It lets the reader know what you will be talking about in your paper and what your opinion is, right? If you don't have your claim, I'm going to have to try to like kind of figure out while I'm reading it, and then nobody wants to read it, right? So you have to tell me your claim, what is your stance, so when I go ahead and read your paper, I know exactly what I'm getting myself into. So here's a question for you guys. So which sentence from the argumentative paragraph below is the writer's claim? So I have A, B, and C, okay? So A, B, or C are your options. So again, which sentence from the argumentative paragraph below is the writer's claim? So we have A. The World Boxing Association should establish and enforce clear rules about how boxers are paid. The current system is unfair to all boxers, whether they are champions or just starting out. So that is 1. B. After paying expenses, the boxer, and or the person who actually fought and suffered, winds up with only a small portion of the earnings. And or C, champions can still make good money in these conditions, but boxers just starting out can't even afford good medical care. So again, remember, a claim picks one side of the topic, they make a clear stance, and they give you one reason, right? So which of these have both of those components? If you picked A, perfect. The answer is A. That does not say all. Sorry, that must be confusing. Those are explanation points. The answer is A. Why? Because it includes a stance, meaning the World Boxing Association should establish and enforce clear rules about how boxers are paid, and it includes at least two reasons that are later backed up with evidence, right? So the current system is unfair to all boxers, whether they're champions or just starting out, okay? So that is their reason. So why are these not part of the claim? Because this is actual evidence, right? Also, whenever you are reading a claim or trying to find a claim, it is always at the beginning, okay? Because if it's not in the beginning, then how am I, as the reader, supposed to know what you're talking about? So it's always at the beginning. So how to write a claim, which is one of the most important things ever in English writing. Write your stance on a topic, okay? Include a transition phrase. That's what was boxed in the very beginning there in the green box. Add at least two reasons that support your opinion. So again here, we have people need to social distance. That is the stance. Due to, that is the transition phrase. And at least two reasons that support the opinion, which one, rising numbers in admitted patients, and two, the lack of resources hospitals have. So now it is your turn. Please go through the form. This one today, this week, actually is going to be a little bit different. We're not exactly reading a full article, answering questions. We are answering questions, but it's not an article. So please just go through, just like before, the first two sections, you have to get all of the questions right in order to move on. So good luck. I hope you have fun and have a wonderful week, everybody.